Well,
Yeah.
welcome to the Wrinkled podcast, folks. Episode 11. My name is
Mm-hmm.
Morgan. This is Hunter.
Yeah.
And happy belated Cinco de Mayo.
Mm-hmm. Or
It's
as most Americans know it, Drinko de Mayo.
uh-huh. Mm-hmm. That's what I did. We celebrated with 2 bottles of tequila.
God damn.
Polished off the first one and then got about 70% of the way through the second one. There were 2 other people here though.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah. It was a hoot. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. I do not like tequila, man.
No?
That shit is ugh. I'm tasting
Yeah, I
I'm tasting it now,
prefer
dude. It's ugh.
I I took a few shots and then afterward I just kind of mixed it in with like some of my Dr. Pepper or something. I don't know, man. I'd rather sip it and it tastes pleasant going down than taste terrible going down and then feel good. Like,
Yeah, I got bad memories of tequila, man, so I don't associate with it well. Ugh.
oh well, now you gotta open up.
Nope.
You gotta open up.
Got open wide.
Oh man, yeah, it was good. And then we had God, what do we have to eat? I don't even. Oh, tri-tip. Oh, man, a tri-tip.
I do love tri-tip because it's very much a California thing.
Mm.
Like a lot of places it's like brisket or like pulled pork or like sausages, and we got that stuff here too. But tri-tip is such a California thing. Like, yeah,
It's just so good, man.
I remember going to Texas, getting barbecue while I was waiting in line, and a guy was asking me like, "Oh, what are you getting?" I was like, "Oh, I'm taking a look at the menu, but like probably some brisket. Like I'm gonna see if they have some tri-tip." He goes, "The hell is that?" I'm like, "Tri-tip," you know, and he goes, "Son, we don't have that around here." I go, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Oh, sorry, I'm from California." Because you one of them city boy. I was like, "Oh man, this guy, he's gonna shoot me, isn't he?"
Oh
But
my god.
yeah, I was like, "Yeah, no, it must be just a California thing." And sure enough, I mean, he pretty much is. Like, I think parts of like Nevada, I think, have some of it too, but
Mhm.
it's pretty distinctly a California thing, I believe.
I think
Um,
the only time I had it outside of California was at a chain.
yeah, and I think it goes by different name too.
That
It
makes
doesn't
sense.
go by tri. It goes by like some type of cut, some type of like I don't know. I don't want to
Mhm.
say something wrong and get slapped across the dome piece, but yeah,
With a piece
something
of
like that.
tri-tip.
I got some tip you could try.
Oh man, it was so good. And then we had New York's the next day.
Oh,
Yeah,
do me a
those
good
were
steak.
those were incredible. Oh man. So yeah, that was tasty.
Yeah, part of me, I'm weird on steaks because part of me thinks that they're like underrated, but also part of me thinks that they're overrated.
I think
Um,
they're underrated because for so long they were overrated.
I agree with that.
And
I,
so
and I,
like,
I think that's why I think about it like that.
yeah, like it's such an iconic, like fancy, expensive meal idea. Like,
Hmm.
oh, you got the big tomahawk and it was
Yeah.
$200. It's something like
Yeah.
that. And so now it's almost like, oh, everyone has fancy steaks. Let's do something unique like caviar.
Yeah. Or like, because, yeah, every time well, to be fair, caviar's been around since like the 1800s or some shit like that, like a long time.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, when I think of fancy, I think of like steakhouses.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is that? Have it been propagated by the media to believe that, or is it just are steaks actually that fancy? Then you have
Yeah.
a steak, a really good steak, and you go, I see why.
Yeah. And that's the thing. You can say whatever you want and then you have it and you're like,
My opinion has been changed.
yeah. Oh my God, there's a place near here. It's a Brazilian steakhouse.
Ooh,
And
like a
it's,
fogo de chao.
uh, yes, sure.
Yeah, I think that's like the probably the most well known. I
Maybe.
think Brazilian steakhouse is
Oh,
like a.
that's something. This one's just called like Fire Brazilian Steakhouse or something.
Oh,
But it's one of those like you have the little thing on your table and you flip it up or down if you want meat and they come by
yeah,
with
the guy
big
comes and
racks of meat.
carves it.
Oh,
Yes.
dude, it's not like, oh, you have one guy. There's 20 of them.
Hmm.
They all have different meats. And it's like every 30 seconds, oh, you want bacon wrapped filet mignon? And it's like, I
Hmm.
want all of it. And then, oh, you want something barbecued chicken wrapped in this? And it's like, yes.
Did you have the cheesy? They have the cheesy like bread type. It's not a bread. It's almost like a ball kind of, you know.
Is it the thing that you like pull apart?
Yeah, but it's like super cheesy and like
I don't.
maybe that might
Well,
just be like a Fogo thing, but
we didn't
yeah.
order like anything in terms of like. I don't know if you can do appetizers there. I know they had like a salad bar, but
Okay.
they had the I don't know what the term is. Not candied, but the pineapple with like the cinnamon and sugar that's been grilled.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but
That
yeah, I
oh
don't think it's candied.
yeah, it's not. But they like I said, they coat it in like cinnamon and something else, and then they grill it, and it's like, oh,
Get a little
so good.
warm, a little sweet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really good flavor mix right
Man,
there, especially pineapple and cinnamon, man. I do love that.
it's so good, and I'm like, man, bodybuilders need to come here. It's expensive. It's like $50, but it's all
Mm,
you can eat protein.
yeah.
Like, oh,
Imagine trying to take some home.
so
Like, yeah, can I get a skewer of that, please?
yeah. I get 10 racks of that. Oh, they come. Oh God, just think about it, man.
Yeah, I went to one when I was in
Mm.
Austin because it was right next to the convention center, like very near it. So I was like, I'll go hit that place up, and yeah, it was like $80, man. I'm like, oh my god, but it was good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, all right.
And this episode is sponsored by No, man, I wish. I'm murdering my thirst. That's their motto.
Isn't that isn't that sparkling water, or is it just like
Yeah.
good? Okay, yeah.
So they have different ones. I think the original can it's white. It's just spring water, and then
Mm,
the black one is sparkling. And now they have some with like flavors.
mm.
But I don't know, man. It's very
TV static, essence of cherry.
yeah. There we go. TV static.
Yeah, I hate sparkling water. I literally cannot stand it.
Yeah.
I'm a basic bitch, I guess. So I like just regular old. I mean, it's 40 ounces of liquid right there that I'll chug down and, you know, be fine with it.
It's weird, man. I used to not like it. Now I do. But
Mhm.
I still drink normal water. I still
Yeah.
have like 10 glasses of normal water a day. But it also helps with the whole fasting thing because carbonation makes you feel full.
Yeah.
So, you could drink that along with like some black coffee in the morning and it's just like, all right, I'm not eating till, 2 or something.
Hmm.
Plus I love the motto. Like the whole joke, oh yeah. It tells a little story on each can of like these hikers were up in the mountain
Yeah.
when a murderous can of sparkling water was out to get, and it's like its goal was out to murder their thirst. I'm like, you know what? That's funny.
Yeah.
That's
I've never had any of their water before. So,
that's good. It's nothing like I'm not seeing the face of God as I drink it, but it's good.
that's fair.
You know.
Yeah. I was the kid sucking water from the hose, even from the goddamn
Oh yeah,
sprinkler when I was a kid, you know. So,
that always tasted the best for some reason when we were
oh,
young.
dude, especially after
Cold hose
yeah.
water.
Dude, you're running
Mhm.
around all day or in the yard or whatever the hell. You come by, just pop that on real quick, man. Ooh.
You just get on your knees and ah.
And then also drink the water from the hose. Suck it down, baby.
Oh man. Oh, what a time to be alive.
It's great
I know.
and
Regardless
awful
of-
at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? It really is a balance. The better things get, the more terrible things can and will happen. And that's just like the way of life. The more advanced we get, the more advanced terrible things get.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I
you
can't
gotta-
wait till the AI takes over, man. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's going to be great for like the first week.
Yeah, and then it's gonna do the Skynet thing and decide that the biggest threat to humanity is humanity and wipe us all off the face of the earth, and then we're
Mhm.
gonna have to live in underground bunkers while man-made machines are moving above us and trying to destroy the rest of us, and single small colonies developed all over the world and everything. It's gonna be crazy, man. I can't wait.
We just stock up on Pop-Tarts.
Well, Pop Tarts, German Shepherds, clothes, boots, motorcycles. I think that's an advanced level joke, man. I don't know if you get that one.
Oh, yeah, Terminator.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
Make sure.
come on.
Hey, kids these days, am I right?
Yeah, I know it's either like deep level humor or, which makes it funnier, complete seriousness.
Yeah.
These kids will be like, "Look, did you know that like cell phones used to flip open?" And it'll be like a flip phone, or They'll find like a VHS tape and be like, "What? This is what they used to put movies on."
Yeah.
It's like,
Used to. Some
yeah,
people still do, man.
yeah. I remember
I
we
call
had
those people crazy.
like a DVD and a VHS like shelf out in the garage
Uh,
where all the movies were stored. And it was like, oh, that's where all the Star Wars was stored. Oh,
yeah.
Star Wars Day just passed.
Yes. May
The
the 4th.
Yeah, maybe the even bigger holiday than Cinco de Mayo, depending on who you ask. Was it
Yeah.
Cinco de Mayo or was it Revenge of the Fifth?
Yeah. You know, it's crazy how that is like that. I think that's become the more norm thing in the past like couple like
Yeah.
maybe 2 decades or so. Because before it was just May the 4th. You know, this Revenge of the Fifth thing wasn't a thing until obviously Revenge of the Sith came out. You know.
I feel like that's such an American thing. Like,
Oh yeah.
what's one of your
100%.
holidays? Oh, it's based off a movie.
Yeah. Star Wars Day.
I mean, well, you know what? No, that's also like a Japan thing because they have Goku Week.
Yeah. Well, yes. Exactly. Well, they
So,
got the whole damn crew, man.
Yeah.
All the Goku's children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's May 9th is Goku Day.
So that's pretty. I think people get like that whole week off in Japan
That's crazy.
from work.
That's crazy.
It's like a
I didn't know that.
legitimate thing. Yeah.
That's wild, man.
Oh man. Because I remember I was watching a stream of Truth and he was talking to Gresh, who now lives in Japan.
Mhm.
And yeah, apparently they front load a bunch of the work so that they can like have that time off, that
That's
block of time.
crazy.
And, like, that
Bro,
is so
imagine
cool.
that's like saying like, oh yeah, I get this whole week off of school because Clint Eastwood was in this one movie one time. You know? Yeah, he played a cowboy, so it's Clint Eastwood week.
Mhm.
You know? I'm like,
God.
that's crazy. And it's funny because you mentioned that, but I also heard some stories about like when new Monster Hunters used to come out
Mhm.
in Japan because they're big games over there. Or at least they were. I think they're kind of on par now with like the U.S. and other countries and whatnot. But yeah, they would take like a couple days off to play, like grind out, and then go back to work. Because what they would do, because obviously over there in Japan, like consoles aren't really a huge thing. It's either PCs, phones, or handhelds.
Mhm.
You know, DSs. That's why the Switch
Nintendo.
is so big over there. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would just like, hey, I needed a couple days off. Oh yeah, Monster Hunter's coming out. He's like, oh okay. I'm like, that's crazy, you know. Like if you said that to your boss now, he'd go,
Huh?
You're fired. Like what? You know. So you always gotta like make up some BS. Like, oh
Yeah.
my back and crack hurts from
Yeah.
the wax I got.
The dentist drilled too hard, so
Yeah, and then also when he was performing the on my teeth. Yeah, that's crazy.
oh
Yeah.
man, what
Shout
like I
out,
said,
shout out Goku.
that's right. The strongest anime character
Uh-oh.
in all of existence.
Uh-oh. This
The-
man's getting
On par with the cameraman. Although
Oh,
you
that's
watch
fair.
you watch those episodes and like the camera's down watching them just zip around and you can't even see him. So
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I think we know who the most
The real
powerful
MC is Luffy and I almost forgot Naruto's name. I forgot that was like the dude's actual name. I was like, what was the dude from Naruto's name? Naruto, you suck. I stand by those statements.
I tried watching that and I just
Yeah, I'm not
I couldn't do it. There's
not a big Naruto guy, man. I watched my cousin watch a couple episodes like years ago. Like I was watching filler and I was like, oh, this is pretty interesting. And then I watch the next episode. I go, oh, this shit, I can't do it. I can't do it. I tried, man.
I feel like the animes I've watched have been too good. From like Hunter x Hunter, My Hero, Dragon Ball, they've all just been incredible,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's really hard to get into something new. I mean, you had to have me watch One Punch Man,
Yes.
and then once we started, it was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah, One Punch Man is excellent.
Yeah.
Like, it's in every bit. It's like goofy as all hell and like obviously absurd and it's like extremes and shit like that. But if it's not one of the fucking funniest like animes, I think in the past like decade, I love that shit. I cannot wait for season 3, man. They really need to drop that. It'll be like 5 years or 6 years at this point, I think, since the last season came out. I think 5 years. But yeah.
Dude, I feel like time is flying by. I and different things will trigger it. Like, yeah, it's May now. I still remember New Year's. Okay, that's not too bad.
Mm.
I've scrolled past an old YouTube video from a year ago,
Mm.
and it was one of the Dokkan videos.
Mm.
And I told myself, didn't that character just come out?
Yeah.
But it was like, oh, the video was uploaded a year ago. What?
Yep.
It's wild, man. It really is. I just hit my 1 year at my new company a couple days back, and I still remember like, oh, when I was working out there before I had the dedicated office, like it's crazy. You hit adulthood, like adulthood, not like 18.
Mm.
I don't really see 18 as like true adulthood yet.
Nah, you're still a kid, man.
Yeah. It's wild how fast everything's going by.
Yeah. I know time does have a weird way of being like extra slow, extra fast, you know. I think that's why it's so weird to like get a grasp on some things sometimes, you know. Like, oh, I'll do that tomorrow. Then tomorrow turns into like a week and go, man, I was supposed to do that like a week ago, you know.
Right. What if I've been doing for the last week?
Yeah. Yeah. I know
It's
that feeling.
it's crazy. Dude, have you I didn't really stop to think about it, and now that I've thought about it, I kind of get it.
Mm-hmm.
The whole, I think it's in France, the protests about the retirement age going up.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Work your entire life thinking, okay, I can get to this point and then I can, you know,
Yeah. Retire
relax and finally enjoy myself. Oh no, guess what? Nope. It's been like this forever. No, all right, now we're gonna change it. It's crazy.
And it's even worse because the president of France, he used his like executive powers to sign that into bill. There was no vote, you know, and that's why people are extremely upset because he just
Interesting.
went on his own accord, and went against the wishes of the people,
Right.
and obviously went against the democratic vote that should have been initiated in the first place
Mhm.
to overrule that and uh, up the retirement age. And I think that's insane.
Yeah.
But again, that's just me. And the beautiful thing is the French, obviously, I love it. They're out there protesting their their asses off, man, and I am here for it.
I mean, what would you expect?
Somebody to get eaten in the middle of the goddamn street?
No, I mean, like as the
Oh.
president. Well,
Somebody to eat in the middle of the goddamn street?
Yeah, no, I mean, what bad things?
Oh.
It'd be like the
he
president
knew,
coming out
man.
today in the U.S. and be like, "Oh, all tax bracket rates are going up 20%
Yeah,
starting
exactly.
tomorrow." Like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
There's only so much that could happen.
And the thing is, not even voting for it, just using his exact power, just be like, yeah, I just signed it into law without the House or the Senate checking me.
That's
It's like,
crazy.
that's essentially what he did. And like I said, that is extremely wild to me because we're putting years into perspective, right? You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Doing one thing for a year is not that long. Doing one thing for 45 years and expecting to be out of that thing and then just being told like, hey, guess what? You got 3 more years of this. You go, that's fucking absurd.
Yeah.
And like it's crazy to me. Like these people that did have their expectations set of retiring, or like, what if somebody's retired medically, or what if somebody's retired because they had a good job and were able to save a lot of money and just say, hey, whatever, I'm retiring 8 years earlier than I'm supposed to.
Right.
Are they going to be all of a sudden be thrust back into the workforce or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, what if some dude like retired the day before and then they announced that?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, guess what?
Sorry, man, we can't approve this because
Yeah.
the president decided that your years are worth less than his whatever. I'm like, that's crazy, And I'm not too involved. Obviously, I'm American,
Yeah.
so I'm not too involved with like European politics, especially French politics of any kind. But from what I understand, what this did is essentially secure the vote for like, I guess what they consider the right wing over there in
Mhm.
France,
Yeah.
because he just signed like the death warrant for the left leaning side of his political party and just pretty much just said, hey, guess what? We're just handing the vote over to the right wing. And I guess people are just taking that as like a kind of like an extra slap to the face on top of everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, that's crazy. Like that's your legacy,
Yeah, this almost feels like, how with the whole TikTok CEO versus the Congress thing.
Mhm.
How they're, oh, let's televise it. And it's like, oh, you showed how dumb you are, securing
Yeah.
everyone's support for the TikTok CEO. Like,
Mhm. It's pretty much what happened, man. I'm like, yeah, like I said, it's weird. It's a weird legacy to.
whoa. Whoa.
I think because I put my hand up.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Now we got true technical. Oh, there we go.
No, we're good.
Yeah.
I do need a fucking new one of these, man. But this will do for now.
Yay. The Elgato Facecam Pro is back in stock. I got an email.
Oh,
That's their
is that the one you have?
No. I've got the Insta link, the one that's on
Oh.
Gyro, but the
Oh,
Elgato Facecam, it is the only webcam, and it's the only camera under like $1,500, including like DSLRs and mirrorless, that
Mhm.
shoots 4K 60.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and it's a big beefy boy, but it's nice.
Okay.
Um,
What was I thinking about? But yeah, like I said, it just boggles the mind, man. It really makes you wonder, like, what kind of trouble is France in, and or like could this be coming soon to other like I don't want to say more free countries, but other more like kind of I guess regular countries, like not war torn, not like impoverished to like in a very extended degree or something like that. You know, like think of like a France or a Germany or even like a UK or something like that. You know,
yeah.
I really want to know the reason. You know, I'm sure there's obviously some typical political answer, but it feels different to me.
Right.
You know, to sacrifice not only your career, but essentially
Your legacy.
yeah, exactly, like what you would have left behind, because it wasn't a terrible, from what I understand, it wasn't a terrible president or any type of
Right.
leader like beforehand. Like obviously some questionable things, but I mean that's with every goddamn political leader we have, or not we have, but around the world, you
Right.
know. So it really just begs the question, like, what were the motives behind this? Is it just like, hey, not enough people are working, we're losing money due to this, that, the other thing, you know, or is somebody paying him to do it? You
Yeah.
know,
That's what I
somebody
was
paying
about to say.
him to,
It's such a, the fact that he just, executive power, bam, this is what's going on.
yeah,
That is
exactly.
a very irregular thing to do, regardless of whether it's in the US or not.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's, yeah.
It's questionable at the very extreme.
Mm-hmm.
So
Even if it was like, oh, there's not enough people in the world, like there are other ways around that.
yeah, no, I agree. Like I said, it is definitely weird. So we'll just we'll have to see, man. You know, it's gonna be weird. Speaking of political stuff, I know Senator Kennedy just announced his run for presidency the other day, like 2 days ago or
Dude,
yesterday, I
the
think.
memes from that have been
yeah.
they've announces his candidacy, and then it's like CIA has entered the chat. Nani?
I know. I was gonna say about how long until he takes a ride past the bug depository. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, it's weird because Robert Kennedy, or sorry, John Kennedy died. Obviously, you know, probably one of the most famous, if not the most famous death, probably across the world. I imagine to a lot of people. Still not solved to this day. I use quotations there.
Yeah.
And then his brother was a Ted Kennedy, was shot in like a hotel bathroom or something like that. You know,
Damn, dude, could you imagine, like, you're sitting there blasting out that Taco Bell, and you can't even catch a break. Like you finish blasting, and then you get blasted.
Yeah,
Like,
you get blasted
come
again.
on.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a nightmare, dude.
Oh man, you're burning,
And it's
coming
hot.
out.
Yeah, it's hot. It's sweaty in there. You know, it's warm. It's humid. You're just like, oh god. All of a sudden, so dude opens the door, just bust. You know, I'm just like, oh, I was almost done, man. Curse
God,
you.
what if, like, if there is a heaven and an afterlife, what if you enter heaven in the situation you left Earth in? So like when you enter
Oh,
the line to get into the pearly gates, he's got his pants around his ankle, like he didn't wipe. So it's just,
yeah. What's his face at the gates? He goes, holy shit.
oh god. Oh, that's
Listen,
terrible.
what I would do is I would wait, and I would train. And I go, when this dude gets in, whether he's going to heaven or hell, send him to me first. I'm a 1v1 this motherfucker. Just like how Abraham Lincoln was like, oh yeah, he was a super famous president, like freed the slaves and whatever, abolition of slavery, all this good shit. But he was also like a little side fact, like one of the most proficient wrestlers of his time.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Apparently the guy just wrestled all the time. I think at one point he might have been like won a tournament for like best wrestler or something
And a
like
vampire
that.
hunter.
Yeah, well, that too, of course. Um,
Interesting.
but
I
I'm
didn't
like,
know that.
yeah, that would be me. Be like, oh, what's this guy gonna do? I shot him on the toilet. Obviously, like you see, like Abe over there in my corner. It's like, oh, I've been practicing wrestling for the last like 30 years.
Yep. I'm waiting.
It's like
Got
every time
my
you
gate duty.
Oh God, dude, it'd be amazing, right? It'd be like, I forget that dude's name from Skyrim when you first go to like the Valhalla version of Skyrim.
Mhm.
I can't remember, but you meet the dude like there's like a dragon rib bridge that you have to
Mhm.
cross, and the guy's like, "No, you got to fight me to enter Valhalla or with the halls of whatever the hell." That you fight him. He's like, "You're a strong warrior." I just imagine that you just like come up behind him, suplex, and just send him as flying like back down to hell or something like that.
I can't think of suplexing without thinking of Blade.
Oh
Blade 2.
God, dude, I've never. Okay, we're talking about fancy kills. In what world have you seen a man suplex a vampire and kill it? It doesn't happen until
Oh,
Blade showed up.
Of course not. Oh no, but those were humans.
Oh, that's right. They were
They were
humans.
the SWAT soldiers.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Because they had like human servants. So
I do remember that now. God, those movies are so good too, man.
yeah, I enjoy them. Those are again like you could poke 100 million different holes in what's wrong with them, but they're enjoyable to watch.
Yeah.
Even Trinity, which again I will
man.
acknowledge is it. Depending on the angle, you could look at it as like a dumpster fire, but I will still watch it and enjoy it.
Yes. I think that's, yeah. And I think people nowadays are especially too quick to kind of be like, bad movie, when the reality is just like, there's one thing,
Right.
And I think for a lot of movies, and a lot of things they get wrong is pacing, because a lot of times they want to force a lot of story in the first half, the first like 30, 40 minutes or whatever. It's a lot of exposition, a lot of like story beats and this and that. And the rest is just like, oh, the final act, this and that and the other thing. It's funny because I was just talking about, okay, all right, quick little, blah, blah, blah. Just talk about Jaws, all right? One of the greatest movies of all time. Yeah, and that's fucking crazy to me. It's actually crazy to me because it is legitimately one of the best movies of all time. Not just from like it was like the first like rated R movie. It was the first movie ever to hit like 100 million in the box office.
Rated R?
Little fun fact. It was actually rated PG because before the movie came out, there was no PG-13 rating or R rating. Or R was intended for extreme gore, like think of slashers and
like NC-17.
Not
Dude,
as bad.
I've yet to see ever released an NC-17 movie. Like I didn't even know that rating was real.
Yeah, they're usually straight to DVD movies or obviously VHS or some of the sort. I've seen a few,
Interesting.
but they're not NC-17 for like the normal shit. They're NC-17 for like because the way the MPAA, actually I think it's called the MPA now, Motion Picture Association. The way they rate movies is like if you kill somebody and you stab him in the gut and you see him like hug the dude and like he dies, you can make that like R, But if you stab the dude, like swirl the knife around and like have blood coming out everywhere or whatever, they're gonna give that NC-17,
Interesting.
But if you stab the dude and you don't see the stab, but you just see him die, that could be PG-13.
Yeah.
Like they're very particular with like how it's shot and how it looks and like
you're allowed one.
Oh, okay, we'll get into that too because
Did you see that clip of the Lord of the Rings cast? And they're like, technically Lord of the Rings is PG-13. So where would you put the one And they like roll through him, and he's like, yeah, they could just do it anywhere. When Merry or Pippin, whichever one, they knocked the thing over in Moria, and he's like, and turns around, full of a took.
Full of a took. God, that's funny as shit, actually. um, but like Jaws is the perfect example of like a perfect like paced film, suspense, like camera, music, like the writing is dull, I think, by today's standards, but it's still just a perfectly well written and a well shot film. The first bit of the film was like we're introduced to everybody, we're introduced to the shark, the situation. They're in a seaside city that gets most of its money from tourists. If they say, hey, there's a massive shark in the water killing people, tourists won't show up, they lose money. The town goes into like a depression almost for like a year or until they kind of can recover.
Mm.
But there's we get introduced to these characters and like, they're pretty dull, for the most part. And then like, oh, what's his face? A Hopper is like, oh, I just moved here. And then the other dude, the 500 men go into the water, 200 men come out or whatever. He's like, this guy's crazy. And then you get introduced to Richard Dreyfuss's character. And it's like, this guy's kind of like a know-it-all. And then they get on the boat. And you spend the next like hour and a half or like hour and some change, like just listening to these dudes talk and like the camaraderie. Like they're just so good.
Interesting.
I don't care what anybody says. If you want to see like as close to a not a perfect film, but as close to like probably one of the most well balanced films I think of our time, you can definitely watch Jaws and kind of get that.
Okay.
It has like
watch
two. It has like two of the best jump scares, in my opinion, of all time.
That's good. I love a good. That's one thing I can't stand is when I can see something coming a mile away in a movie. Like the whole we talked about at Mandalorian, how the armorer didn't turn out to be a spy, and that was great because everyone could see it coming.
It seemed obvious, and I think that was
But yeah, I definitely need to watch it just on the basis also that it's like a classic. I've never seen that. I've never seen The Godfather. I feel like there's more. The original or the first Ghostbusters.
Oh God, the Ghostbusters is so good. It's funny. I was just talking about this the other day, and somebody was like, "Man, the Ghostbusters overrated, huh?" And I go, "F you, man." Like I wasn't even born at the time. Like obviously these are '80s movies we're talking about, but overrated. I'm like, no way.
Yeah, there's a reason they're classics.
Exactly, and there's a reason why like you can cite like a lot of like the comedic like stuff and the dry irony and like the kind of shit that like they went on that movie to this day.
What do you think is gonna be like 20 years from now? What do you think is gonna be a classic or classics from our time right now? And I'll say from 2008 forward.
Oh,
2010 forward. Something,
Oh, because it's funny you said it because the first thing that came to my mind was Sinister. That horror movie with Ethan Hawke.
Oh yeah, that was graded as the scariest movie of all time.
Which is crazy because that movie, in essence, is really not that scary, but it really it puts you on the edge of your seat for like most of the movie. Yep. The first bit of the movie, it's like, there's a couple little things here or there. But then, like, as he's in the house, as he's starting to dream, as he's like starting to look at the videotapes and like kind of start piecing shit together, like you're literally after that point, you're not trusting anything. No. I remember watching the movie and just be the whole time just being like, like what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen?
Well, it's because when he's going through it and he sees that the image of this thing can move and like, videos of it can interact. So you're always looking in the background, like, oh my God, where is it gonna? Is it gonna pop up in the book that he's reading, or is it the reflection of the glass picture frame behind him? It's so tense. And also the look of that thing. I don't know its name.
Yeah.
It's
Bagul.
That's it. The eater of children. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
That thing looks terrifying.
Yeah. But I remember watching it at theaters and just being like, man, this movie is I think they made a second one, I believe. But
they did. It was good.
To me, that is one of the most criminally underrated movies of the past like 20 years, I feel like. Yeah. I know it got like a lot of love recently, I think, which is good. But when I think of something that like it puts you on the edge of your seat, it's told well, it's shot extremely well, and it's obviously you got Ethan Hawke in there. I believe there's another like couple big name actors in there or actresses that obviously make the story as good as it is. But it just explodes with like tension and fear and like you just feel like you feel the tension bubbling almost all the time. And like, God, that shit had me like. Yeah, I was creeped out for a good majority of that film. So I'll definitely say Sinister.
The problem with the second one is they got away from Bakul
Mm,
and made it more about the children, which was creepy and gave more insight about how he operated as an entity.
yeah,
But he was the scary part of the first film.
yeah,
And so to get away from that, it was like doing like a prologue, but as a sequel.
interesting.
Even though, yeah, it was good, just not as good.
Mhm.
What? Any other ones like non-horror?
Um, I'm trying to go. I'm not trying to go for like big names. Like I could just say Interstellar. You know.
Dude, that's what I was thinking. Not even if it wasn't like, even if you're not like a space nerd or
Mhm.
anything, I feel the soundtrack, the shots, the acting. I don't know if there's anything you could point to that film and say, like, they did a poor job of it. Is there anything that was like objectively bad?
Mm. I'm sure if I gave it a rewatch, I could nitpick probably a few things. But honestly,
Right.
off the top of my head, I don't think.
I'm
I
sure
don't
you
think I
could say
could.
like, "Oh, that's not 100% like scientifically accurate." Okay, sure. It's a movie.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck about none of
Yeah.
that.
But just thinking back again,
I know some nerd out there will, but I don't.
oh yeah. Yeah, so that I was thinking that one too, but I think it's tough to find another one. I honestly think maybe you could. I don't know if you could count it as a classic, maybe, but the first Iron Man, just because it started everything.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking that, and I know you said like 2010 or later, but either Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead. Honestly, one of
Uh,
those two. I'm more keen to say Shaun of the Dead
mhm.
compared to Hot Fuzz, even though they're both good. But I think Shaun of the Dead, I think, is more culturally like, I think culturally kind of prominent. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I still remember
Um,
the trailer.
oh, it's so good, dude.
The the
Those
the
movies are,
zombies were dooga
yeah.
dooga 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 dooga.
Yeah, so I think one of those two. But yeah, I would definitely say the first Iron Man as well, just because, like you said, it did start the MCU. It was like the kind of the big return of like Robert Downey Jr. at the time. Um, Kicked off a lot of careers. It made a lot of money. You know, um, I could definitely, you could definitely put that up there and be like, yeah, this is a classic. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Now, obviously, I think like it's pretty cookie cutter in its design. You know,
yeah.
um,
I well, that's one of the things too. Is for me, it's hard to go back and watch older movies, just whether it be visual effects or acting. It's just sometimes it's hard for me personally.
mm,
But I mean, you can go back and watch the first Iron Man, and yeah, it's obviously not as flashy, but Robert Downey Jr. is still as
yeah.
amazing as Tony Stark.
Mm.
It it feels still incredible watching it. Like
Yeah, like
other
I said,
than no, go for it.
I would say I think with a lot of movies, you know, there has to be a level of understanding like this is a movie.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Um, and whether your brain recognizes it or not, like that's the trick. You know, because I was just in the movie theaters yesterday. You know, we'll get to. I think we're moving on to this later, but I went to go watch Guardians 3, and the whole time I was sucked in. I was zoned into that movie, right? And it wasn't until like the person next to me kind of like moved a little bit and like hit me and I kind of like jolted. I'm like, damn, you know what I'm saying? Because at that point, all I was focused on was the movie. You know what I'm
yep.
saying? Like any third person or not, any outside variables, shit, I was not paying attention to. You know, besides like somebody's perfume, I smelled somebody's perfume from like 2 rows back. I was like, God, that's fucking strong.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel
but
like that's
the
the sign of a very good movie.
yeah, and like it sucked me in. You know what I'm saying? And then I realized like how many other movies has this happened to me before? And
Hmm.
you know, and I go, man, there's a lot. You know, because even my thing is even if a movie's bad or like kind of like you mentioned like bad CG or bad like acting or whatever the case is, if you could believe, you know, that you're there or that you like if you could believe that it's not a movie you're watching but kind of like something that's taking place, then they've got you.
Right.
You know, and I think a lot of movies that we consider good or like some of the best of the best who do that very well.
Hmm.
You know, um, like watching
Yeah.
watching like a very long movie, like I'm gonna mention Blade Runner 2049. It's almost a 3 hour
Mm.
movie. You watch that movie, it feels shorter than that,
Oh
you
yeah.
know, because it is flying by because you're getting like everything and like the detail and all the attention to specifics and shit like that. Like you're noting the nitty gritty on numbers and, when they're in apartments and when they're in, warehouses and whatever, like you're noticing like the smaller bits and your brain just like, it really pulls you in and just like encapsulates everything. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think that's the trick for a lot of moviegoers, and especially for a lot of directors. I feel like if you can make them believe that they're there watching this take place as it happens, not on a screen, then you're good. You
Yep.
know,
You've
you've solved like the
yeah.
magical like riddle of theaters and movie going.
You've enabled the viewer to, you know, put themselves in the shoes of the actor. And I think that's why I'm I struggle deeply, and it's something I've struggled with a lot in oh god, this is going to sound terrible.
Oh, I'm
It,
afraid now.
no, it's so with people outside of my close friend group or close family,
Mm,
sometimes it's really hard for me to legitimately care. Like if somebody were to go through something like tragic,
yeah.
for me to like have that deep sense of like empathy,
Mhm.
sometimes is like really difficult. Like I can sit there and listen and be like, oh, that's terrible, and then I can turn on a comedy TikTok and just start laughing, be like, oh, yeah. Like it. Sometimes I feel like I don't make that deep connection as well as most people,
Mhm.
and so I feel like that's one area where I overextend or hit that mark more as movies and like a well-written video game, God of
Yeah.
War, Last of Us. It's something that is like, yes, I'm committed to these fictional characters.
Mhm.
And that sometimes feels a lot easier than, again, connecting with someone who's real and who's in my life and they're telling me something. And I'm like, I'm struggling to care. Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. And I think after kind of experiencing that a lot with people, you know what I'm saying? I think what you tend to realize is that like now at that moment you can't help them. You know what I'm saying? Whether it be like loss of a loved one or like a relationship ended or, something, you know, maybe
Mhm.
more or less serious, sort of the case is to you personally. Um, like you can't help them. You know, the only thing you can really do is just give them an ear. You know what I'm saying? Say, hey,
Mhm.
I'm here if you need me, if you want to talk, Um, but obviously, like, if you cannot associate feelings with that, like that's a sign that you're actually probably doing something well because you're not faking empathy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You're not just doing it just to like, that's what they need to hear. It's like, listen, I'm here. I sound off on me. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If you need to, like, that's what you can be. You can just be the soundboard um, of their feelings and of their current emotions and things like that. Like, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, you recognize the situation as a detriment. You go, yeah, I understand you have, something bad happened, and that's understandable.
Right.
Um, I said, just talk to me. That's it. Um, because obviously, like communication, speaking that stuff out is very important. That's usually what I do. Like I said, because I can empathize a lot of like stuff that happened to people.
Right.
People close to them. Like I've had people close to me pass away. I've had, relationships end and things just not go how I wanted them to go. And that's just a part of life. But to talk about it and kind of like air it out, I think is very important. So, like I said, when it does come to something like that, like all you can do is just be the soundboard.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
because like I
that's
said,
true.
faking empathy, I think is worse in a situation like that. Like being not genuine in your feelings and in your care for this person.
Right.
At least with this instance, you go, yeah, I can't relate. I can't. I can empathize, but I can't relate to you. I think is extremely important. Obviously, like a video game character, I think it's a little bit easier because we have almost all knowledge of what happened or a good chunk of knowledge of what happened with them and we get inner workings, we get journals, we get dialogues, we get voice recordings. We get things that like,
Yeah.
it's literally what we're doing when we're associating somebody with similar trauma. But most of those people tend to be shut off anyways. In this instance, we have almost every single piece of their inner dialogue out for us to examine and acknowledge.
Right. I think a big like nail on the head was that I can't help them, because
Yeah.
that's like a big thing. It's like I can't do anything to change what's going on. I can't do anything to help. I can be here, I can listen, and I can give any sort of advice if you ask, but
Mhm.
I can't change it.
No.
So I think that's where that like disconnect is yeah. I don't know. Sometimes it just feels weird.
Yeah, and you feel bad about it because you do want to help.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And like that's again true caring. You do acknowledge that they have pain and shit like that. But again, just with some things, you got to be hands off. I'm not a miracle maker. I'm not going to be bringing people back to life. I'm not going to call in 1,000 favors to get you this job or something. That's just
Right.
how it is. You know, so you just be an ear for them to listen to. That's it. What the old saying is? Why do we have two ears and one mouth? Because we're supposed to listen twice as much as we speak. You know, and
Interesting. I've never heard that.
some people do, some people don't. You know, I like to think I'm a good listener. Um, but again,
Interesting. And yet when you get older, you may start to lose your hearing. So maybe that's a cue that you need to start talking more.
there you go.
You've oh my God, you've pulled in so much knowledge that now it is your time to give it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh shit, man! I didn't even think of that. You just,
Damn.
god damn, you just awoken to something, man.
Wow.
Like I said, it's extremely important that we listen, and like I said, I cannot feel what you're feeling. I cannot understand your pain, but I can empathize with you, and
Right.
that's as much as I could do. People will appreciate that more 100 times out of 100 than somebody just being like, "Hey, man, if you need anything, just give me a call, give me a holler." Uh, don't even worry about it, man. This and that, and the other thing, and you call them and they don't answer the phone.
Right.
You text them, they don't text back. You shoot them a message on Instagram, message seen, no reply. Is that those are not people that you want to associate with.
Right.
Like I said, when you shoot a text, you should get a text back from that person. Give them a call. Hey, I should get a call back from this person, whether it was emergency or not. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, people who have time for you will make time for you.
That's true.
Yes, and I think that is extremely important. That is something that I don't think enough people recognize. Because not everyone is out here to help you. Some people are here to hurt you.
And
And the
some
quicker you
people
recognize that, the easier it gets.
will knowingly or unknowingly, and what I mean by that is subconsciously drag you down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of the, when you start doing better than other people, people support you until you start doing better than them.
Yes.
And then when you start doing better, they hit you with the, oh, don't let it go to your head. And, oh, be careful. Oh,
Yeah.
have a backup plan. And, oh, do this
Yeah.
and that.
Yeah.
So, people aren't as selfless as they seem.
Yeah. That's a good way of putting it. I like there's a quote from that movie Gattaca that I love. Because in the essence of that movie is you have people who are born normally with all their defects and all their whatever, heart diseases and cancers and shit like that. And you have people who are genetically modified to have those things removed. So people who are perfectly clean, they have no abnormalities at birth. They'll never get any diseases as they grow older. Obviously, they're susceptible to any other type of injury or whatever the case is. But there's two brothers. One brother is normal born. The other one has been genetically modified. And obviously, like the parents dote on the one who's been modified more because he's more perfect. He has straighter teeth. He's taller. Even at a younger age, he's more leaner. He's smarter. All these kind of shit like that.
Right.
But him and his brother have these competitions where they go out swimming in the ocean because obviously, like the older brother who's modified or who's not modified wants to compete against the younger brother who is modified, and they swim in the ocean, right? And every day the younger brother beat the older brother until
Mhm.
one day he didn't. And that's kind of like the synopsis of the movie. Up to that point, the movie carries on to the very end, and he does the swim with his brother again, and the waves are all choppy. It's murky. It's dark out there. It's super dangerous. And then, um, his brother goes like, "How are you doing this?" You know, because in his head he goes, "Well, you are weaker than me. How could you keep beating me in these races even after all these years?" And the brother who's not modified goes, "It's because I don't leave anything to go back. You know, I take everything with me. I don't leave any energy to if I have to go back. I don't leave any energy to go back. Essentially,
Burns
to
the
go back to
boats.
yeah to go back to shore.
Mhm.
He doesn't he puts everything into either going and beating him or making it to the other side. You know,
Interesting.
because in his mind he'd rather die than not give it his all. And I'm like, that's fucking that's fair, man. You know, um,
Interesting.
yeah, like
I,
it's like it's more important in the context of the film,
yeah.
because you get a little bit more of the
Yeah.
nuance, But I'm like, man, that's sound advice. Don't leave
I'm all
anything for
for
the
it.
swim back.
Yeah. I like that. I I, I saw I don't know what movie it was, but they took this like football team to this. I think it was like a VA center
Mhm,
with all these, like amputees, and these guys had prosthetic legs and whatnot.
mhm,
And they went to this gym, and there's this, veteran dude, a little more heavy set, but he had one prosthetic leg, and he hopped on the treadmill. This lean, I think it was like a running back. I don't know. This kid was lean. You could tell he could run. Hopped on next to the guy, and they ran until they cut back and forth to them talking to each other and whatnot.
mhm.
However many minutes later, they're sprinting, they're running. You can tell they've been running for a while, and the football player stops and hops off the treadmill, and then the veteran guy hops off about a minute later. And the kid is like, "How did how do you keep going forever?" And the veteran's like, "I don't. I just go a little bit longer than you."
Mhm.
And that
Yeah.
was like one of those moments, like, I feel like that's a big gym thing, especially when you're like next to someone. If you start running, there's like that competition. But again, it's not about going forever. It's not about being the best or anything. It's just
Mm.
when you got that thing next to you, when you've got that, I can compete with this. You can keep going.
Yeah.
You keep going just a little bit longer. Just one more step. If I can make it one more step, then I can make it one more after that.
Mhm. Yeah. No, that's definitely a real thing, man. Because you'll be doing something, you go, man, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm out. I don't have it in me. And then like you summon that one more, then you can summon one more after that, and one more after that, and one more after that.
Yeah.
Um, it really is a very much like a psychological component, to that kind of shit. Because your body will want to just quit as soon as you start.
Right.
So you start working out or you start running or whatever. Everybody's like, we don't need this,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know. And your brain will go, yeah, we don't, right? You know.
Yeah.
And then you trick your brain and go like, nah, we do. But your body's like, nah, we don't.
Right.
So you're a little sluggish still or whatever. But eventually you just kind of like you break through that wall and you're just like, I'm in here now.
Yeah.
Um,
Intentionally putting your body through suffering is gonna feel weird at first.
mhm.
It's like, oh God, it's like trying to learn a new language when you're 40.
Oh God, that sounds
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah, exactly. It sounds awful right now, just thinking about it. So yeah, I couldn't imagine. Um, I know we touched on it. How was Guardians?
Oh man. Well, first, all right, I'm going to movies I watched in order. So I went to the movies twice last weekend, and I went to the movies yesterday, which at this day would be Saturday. So last weekend I saw Evil Dead Rise Saturday, and then Sunday I watched the 40th anniversary re-release of Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
I think easily the
And
best of the original trilogy.
I agree. Personal opinion. Fight me. I know 5 is like considered like one of the best sequels, if not, you know, very close to like Godfather Part 2 and
You know what? 5 is good, but 6 gives you that defining Jedi moment of, in that moment, Luke embodies a Jedi probably more than anyone else.
Mhm.
He throws away his lightsaber, says, talking to the biggest baddie to ever bad.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give in to how I feel.
No.
Slay down my own father. And I'm not even going to pick up my lightsaber against you. Because that's not what a Jedi
Yeah.
does.
And Luke only reacted, and he realized he acted emotionally
Right.
when he heard, he mentioned that Vader heard that he has a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of was like, oh, maybe I'll turn her instead. And Luke was like, no, 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 no. So obviously, like, balls to the wall and, like, started attacking him and shit like that. But again, yes, not only one of my favorite moments in Star Wars, probably one of my favorite moments in cinema of all time. It is so good. That scene and the speech, maybe like 20 minutes before that, where they're on Endor and Luke goes to Vader and is talking to him, he's like, I still feel there's good in you, and he's talking like, let go of your hate. And Darth Vader's like, you don't understand the power of the dark side, and then he hits him with like, it's like, no, you can do this. You won't turn me over to Palpatine. You won't do this, whatever. And then Darth Vader's like, it's too late for me, son.
Mm-hmm.
And like acceptance of, I've already been, I'm this deep, I there's no turning back. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And if Anakin Skywalker is truly dead, because they're two entities. Vader is not Skywalker, right?
No.
So if Anakin's truly dead, he wouldn't have said son, because oh no, that's not me. Vader is not Anakin, so this isn't
Exactly.
Son. And I feel like during that initial moment in that fight when he cuts off his hand and he stops and he sees, they both have robotic hands. I almost saw that as he noticed, like, oh man, this is one more thing we have in common.
Yeah.
What if this is how I end up like him? We both had this injury. What if I keep going down this path? I'm going to end up just like him.
And we see it in episode 5 with Luke on Dagobah with Yoda training, and he goes into that cave, right? And in that cave, he sees a Darth Vader. He cuts him down, and obviously there's like a chunk of the helmet missing. And whose face does he see? He sees his own face.
Yep.
Because he realized how easy it is to be pulled into the dark side like that. And we even see it at the beginning of episode 6 with the Gamorrean guards, where Luke is literally force choking a Gamorrean guard, and you start like, I think at the time you maybe didn't question it a whole lot, but obviously now that we know kind of like, not the absolutes, but like kind of like lightning, choking,
the no-nos.
like, yeah, exactly. Like, that's not really something that Jedi do. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
see the first thing that the chosen one's son is doing is like choking out a Gamorrean guard. Is just, you start questioning things a little bit. He tries to convince Jabba to like, oh, let Han go and trust me, you won't. Whatever the case is, you'll regret this and you're making a big mistake. Yada 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 or whatever. Yeah, it was very. I've never seen an original Star Wars in theaters before. So coming in, seeing my personal favorite Star Wars film, and getting that like experience, I think was fucking fantastic.
I bet.
The music, obviously, like John Williams, like the crowd getting involved, like people were fucking screaming and fucking like just having a blast, and it was super dope. Yeah, one of my favorite experiences at the theaters of recent.
I hope they do that same thing for Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, dude.
That was my first midnight showing ever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Oh, my. 3 hours long. Not 3 hours. That's a long movie.
Yeah, it is.
I remember, like, by the time we went to bed, it was almost 3 o'clock.
And,
oh, man. But go ahead.
So, yeah, that was Sunday. And then Saturday, I watched Evil Dead Rise, which was phenomenal.
Yeah.
It picks up the gore, just like the remake from 2013 did. Excellent casting. God, the lady, listen, she'll never see this. Shit, I might even just fucking send it to her myself. But Alyssa Sutherland, the lady who plays like the main Deadite in that film, fuck, dude, she is gorgeous, man.
Alyssa Sutherland?
Yeah, she's like the main actress for the film. She plays like the main female Deadite, the one that you see in all like the
Hmm.
you know the commercials and show that.
Hmm.
Dude, she is something else, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, like immediately after the movie, I went and followed her on Instagram. I was like, oh, dude, I gotta see, man, I gotta see. Um, but
Shoot your
very good
shot.
movie. Oh, dude, I'm about to shoot my shot for sure, and also about to message her. Uh, but yeah, very good movie. I watched the original 2013 remake, not the original. I watched the 2013 remake in theaters. I watched this one in theaters. God, they're both excellent films, man. Um, I know the one in 2013 was done by, I think this dude's name is Fede Alvarez. I want to say, um, and he did a great job at that. And now he's the new director for the new Alien movie coming out or
Oh,
show or
sweet.
something like that. So I have high hopes for what the hell he's got planned because the dude just he takes shit to the next level, man. Um,
I'm always down for more Alien anything.
yeah, but it was
Oh,
super scary, super gory, super. It was everything, pretty much everything I wanted, and it ticked all the boxes for me of just everything. So, highly recommend. If you can, go out your theaters. If not, do a home release, turn the lights off, turn the sound up.
yeah,
You'll be shitting your pants.
that's awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Might have to. Yeah, we'll probably go to the theaters this coming weekend. I don't
Yeah,
know.
dude,
Maybe
it
we'll do
was
it. Maybe we'll do it
excellent, man.
back to back nights. I don't know, man. I haven't been to the theaters in a long time, and I'm kind of itching for it because I
Yeah,
love going to the theater.
same.
So yeah, that might be an experience. Maybe just back to back, do that, and then Guardians or vice versa.
Dude, oh god, and the Guardians, man, Guardians was so good. If you want just I don't think we've ever gotten one in the MCU of like initial movie trilogy like Captain America, Thor, or Iron Man that like the final movie is the best
Ooh,
out of the three, but this is definitely the best out of the three Guardians movies, man. By far, by a landslide. It has
I don't
everything.
know. You could make a case for Civil War being better than Winter Soldier. I personally like Winter Soldier better,
Hmm.
but I feel like
I,
you could make a case.
yeah,
Civil War is good, and it is
Civil War is
just
good.
it's it's brutal to watch.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of like questionable like shit going on in there. And just like, oh
Yeah,
man. So
but that's really good to hear. I haven't seen a single bad thing about Guardians.
it was excellent. Um, like I said, it had everything. It was funny. It was sad. It was just action galore. You know what I'm saying? Every associated character in there just got their time to shine, and it was amazing. You know what I'm saying? It was everything I wanted, and
Hell yeah.
yeah, it was. The music's great. There was one scene that I was actually in tears from laughing so hard because of a music decision that they added. But holy shit! Besides that, man, yeah, it had me all over the place, like emotion wise, and yeah, it was a solid film. Solid film.
That's great. They've always been on point with the music.
Dude, yeah,
It's
I don't know if James Gunn goes through that personally and be like, hey, I want this, or maybe there's like some type of like producers meeting where they go, well, this song might fit here, and this and that, the other thing, and blah blah blah, and maybe they got backups just in case like they can't get the rights for this or whatever
mhm.
the case is. But holy shit,
I
man, was it
couldn't
excellent?
imagine any whether what is it what are the companies the publish not publishing the
Oh yeah, yeah, for music,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
couldn't
the pub.
imagine any of them saying, "No, we don't want it in this massive Marvel movie." Like
I
the
mean, I don't know, man.
exposure and just being able to say, "Oh yeah, our this music was in." But
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. Kind of have like a deck of all right. If we can't get this, then this will also fit.
yeah. So it
But
was it was fantastic. I highly recommend. Again, I feel like that is one that has to be seen in theaters. You need the theater, you need the sound and like
mhm,
everything there with it. So I
interesting.
do I
Yeah,
do love that movie. It is
we'll definitely go see it then.
yeah, something very good. So comes highly recommended.
Nani?
The movie.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm smelling something good out there. I don't know what she's cooking. but it smells good.
Yeah, I just had some Hawaiian barbecue, man. I'm
Ooh,
full of shit. So
that sounds good. That sounds really good.
it was delicious.
Let us know what your classic movie is. What you think
Yes.
in 20 years, what is that classic gonna be?
The animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot from 2000 and something.
With was it animated or
Yeah,
the
yeah. The CG one, the CG one.
okay.
The
Got
one
it,
with
got it.
what's his face?
Stephen Amell?
Is he in that?
No, maybe I'm thinking of a different movie.
I don't know.
Doesn't he play
But
the skater dude with the hockey mask?
oh, I have no clue, man.
I'm
I
pretty
know
sure.
that I can't remember that he's in the new Jack Reacher show. He's a real tall, big, like super fucking ripped blonde dude.
Oh.
He was in Blue Penn State or whatever that
Oh, Blue Mountain
college.
State.
Blue Mountain State, yeah, him. I know he's voices like Leonardo or
Dude, he plays a really good Jack Reacher.
dude. He is excellent, that man.
I binged that show. I was like,
Oh, me too. Yeah,
yeah. But I also love the movies with Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Because
They're
even though
okay.
he's not like 6'9", I think that's part of what made the movies enjoyable was seeing this
Yeah.
little dude beat up all these people. So
and like outsmart and like outmaneuver
Yeah,
them.
yeah.
I mean, and that's Jack Reacher's whole thing. You know what I'm saying? He's super wily and like just
thinking
intellect through
like
the
10
charts
steps
and
ahead.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Very cool.
I do love that they're coming out with all these like Tom Clancy shows. We had
Mhm.
Jack Ryan with John Krasinski, and then there was that movie with Michael B. Jordan like 2 years ago or last year sometime, I think.
Oh,
It came out that
yeah. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah,
yeah, I don't remember the top of my head, but I'm like, yo, man, like, because I'm not a big fan of like military books.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not a big Tom Clancy guy, but I've read like one or two. One of the ones I do remember reading was it was like the White House being taken over by a group of
Mm.
terrorists, and the most vivid thing I remember from that book was like one of the guys was sneaking in through a vent like down the basement, and one of the terrorists catches him and just like shoots up through the vent, just like obliterates this dude and kills him.
Damn.
And the guy's just like, I gotta get revenge for my fallen comrade. I'm like, I'm definitely reading a military book right now.
That's one thing. I've never really been into military movies. They've always been difficult for me to watch, and I'm not sure why. But then I think it's because a lot of them were like the same.
Yeah, it's funny because I was gonna say the same thing.
Big historical event, let's try and depict it or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But then they came out with like original. There's one I think it's called The Wall, where it's got John Cena, and I don't remember who plays. Oh, okay, Godzilla, the 2014 remake with
Uh-huh.
Elizabeth Olsen.
Uh-huh.
The guy who plays her husband, the soldier.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
He plays the soldier in the wall, and
Yeah.
he's trapped behind a
Yeah.
wall that's like 3 feet.
Yeah. And he
And-
can't move, and like there's like
yeah.
a sniper that's like got him pinned down and like kills one of his
That
buddies.
one
or
is
something like that.
really
Yeah.
good. Yeah. And
Yeah.
then like Hacksaw Ridge.
Oh, Hacksaw Ridge is excellent.
So
Yeah, it's funny because I read like Tales from Iwo Jima and a couple other like military books. Like I
Mhm.
prefer the more realistic, like depictions, like actual stories and shit. But yeah, man, a good military movie, I think it's hard to beat.
Mm.
Like remember we went to go watch 1917,
Oh, dude.
and the whole time, man, I was taken aback.
Yeah.
Same thing when I watched Dunkirk. Like Dunkirk is just fucking so good,
I haven't watched that one.
dude.
But
One
dude,
that
I totally forgot about 1917. That one
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Mhm.
the entire time I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just
And
brutal.
like part of me, because like that's one of the big selling points for the film, and one of the things they talked about was like, oh, it's shot in one take, and I was like, I bet you motherfuckers I could find where the fucking where the cuts are, or like where the mirrors are. And like I remember one of the first ones we saw was when they're climbing over the dead man's land.
Yep, they breezed past that rock.
Yeah, and it kind of like, okay, there's a cut, and then there's another one where they're going into like that dark tunnel. I was like, there's a cut, obviously.
Mhm. But they did it so well to where it doesn't look
super,
like a
dude.
cut.
Absolutely. It's like God of War. It's like
Yep.
God of War 2018,
Mhm.
where like the whole movie plays out cinematically and like over the course of like a day essentially or whatever, and it feels like that because the time you've been playing for a long time, but the game is like, yeah, we're just a couple hours,
Right.
You know, I'm like, oh, interesting. So
yeah.
it does play that super well, and yeah, those were excellent films. So
Oh my God. All right.
uh,
I gotta get out of here and eat whatever's cooking out there.
yeah.
I can smell it. It's overpowering. I'm wafting.
Oh shit,
And
he's
it's
floating. He smells a pie on a windowsill right now.
That's right. Oh man. But
He's
let
getting
us know,
carried
folks.
away by the scent.
That's right. I'm about to go plant my face in some. Smells like there's something meaty out there, so about to go meat deep.
Yeah. Let us know
Oh
your classic films. You know, let us tell us what have you watched in theaters recently. Did you go see Guardians? Did you go see Evil Dead? Did you go see Star Wars? Did you go see anything else? You know?
yeah. Which one's the best Star Wars?
Episode 6.
And I mean, actually, no. You can still comment if you're one of those like Star Wars trash franchise.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that'll
Yeah,
still be
I
enjoyable.
I want a 3-page essay on why you think Star Wars is bad.
Yep.
And no
I
cliff
want
notes.
I want sources.
Mhm.
Yep.
I want them cited too.
What is it? Not what is it? ASA format? AMA?
I don't remember, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Not the high school format, the college format.
Oh, yes, college formatting.
That's right.
please.
That's right. With a cover page. Oh man. Hey, go down there and comment. Hit that like button. Tickle it.
Mhm.
Give it a little slap.
Yeah, just hover over with your mouse or your
right.
finger and just.
Maybe headbutt that subscribe button.
Oh man,
Yeah. Give it a little. Oh.
just like that.
Tell us what to talk about next. We got a lot of interaction on the last couple of shorts, so that was fun.
It's good.
Yeah. And y'all have a great rest of your day. Happy Sunday. Happy Cinco de Mayo, and we'll see you in the
Happy
next
Goku
one.
Day.
That's right. Happy Goku. Oh, that's
Goku,
right.
Gohan, and Goten Day coming up.
That's
So
right. That's
if
coming
you like
up.
either one of those three, happy you.
Except that Goku is the strongest, and if not, tell me who is.
Oh no.
I want an essay on that one too. All right. We'll see you in the next one, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.